thinking about climate change, and I'm like thinking about how like there was this piece in the New York Times about Lake Michigan and the impacts of like a rising and lowering lake on the city, and have been thinking about flooding and like rising heat and like who it affects, and it's like Black people, poor people, Latinx people in Chicago, and I like am really antsy to start jumping into local communities, local politics, and trying to push for some of the stuff federally that we're fighting for, and like a Green New Deal for Chicago. So yeah, to me that means being able to come and do organizing in my home and start to stop the climate crisis, but also prepare people for the crisis that is now and that is coming.
I thought about this a lot. It's a hard question. I think what I bring to Frontloading is I'm very deeply tied to my own community and the organizing I do locally, and I would never let go of my local organizing, and that's been tough on this team because like there's a lot of different priorities and things, but like it is what is most deeply important to me. And so most of the people I organize with are unhoused, and a lot of them are either low income or unhoused, but most of them are unhoused. And they're just people who have been left behind over and over and over again, and like I refuse to let them be left behind by Sunrise. Absolutely. Like so many of my friends have given up on everything. Like most of my friends have various drug addictions and ridiculous family situations that should never have happened to them, they don't deserve. And they truly don't believe in anything because they think that the whole world is just like not for them. But I know that the world is for them, and that climate change is actually a uniting issue that we as Sunrise will work to like help create a different world, hopefully, where people are a little less hopeless.
There was like a long time where I wasn't really sure if climate was my fight. I think I associated it with like recycling and like polar bears and like, you know, all the things that the climate movement talked about in the past. And yeah, I mentioned before that I spent the summer of 2018 in India, and I was like researching air pollution in Delhi. And I just like that same summer, the worst floods in 100 years like hit my family's hometown in Kerala, and like my grandmother couldn't go outside because the water was like up to her door, and yeah, it was just like really scary. And at the same time, the air pollution in Delhi broke the record. Like it was broke the scale. It was above 999. Just to give context, like the really high air quality right now, and like I think in Denver, I think it got up to like the 300s recently, but like yeah, it was like 3 times that. And it just felt so apocalyptic and scary every single day as I like went into work, and I would like, there was like a little bit of me that wanted to stay in India. Like I was like, this is so intense, and I would like ask people there like, what is it that I should do, and most people were like, the United States just needs to take responsibility for its stuff, like for our emissions. And I think like there's this component of like internationalism and international justice that I like feel like I really grew up being very oriented to, because most of the people who my parents love most are like not in the United States. That I feel like there's always a little at the back of my mind of like, we have a responsibility to this for us, yes, but also like to the whole globe. And like if we don't organize at scale, if we don't like pass huge federal legislation, we're like screwing over literally billions of people who have not done anything wrong and who have not created this crisis in the way that like that handful of like oil and gas billionaires have. And it like makes me really mad and like furious. And yeah, that perspective I think is like a lot of what I hold very closely and bring to Frontloading.
Well, one, like a deep sense of community organizing. I love Sunrise, but sometimes it's absent from our like strategy and approach. We focus a lot on like cycles of momentum, but how we're actually like building the people with power in between. My like favorite fun fact about myself is that I've knocked on every door in my city, and also just being in those spaces, there's like a lot of elder folks from South American countries who are like deeply engaged in like labor struggles or just like fleeing oppressive governments, and have so many lessons that I've learned over the years. And I think also, yeah, we're like one of the poorest cities in the country. And I think the unique way that like poor people learn to take care of each other is like really necessary in organizing and community building as a whole. And yeah, when I think about that, I actually think of this one Salvadoran woman named Sylvia who just like, yeah, treated me like a grandson. And yeah, she would always, I'm always too skinny, shoot out, but I don't eat meat. And like she, isn't sure how to put fat on me without meat. So she would always just bring me these big bag of nuts. And yeah, I'm kind of going off now. At any rate, we take care of each other. That's it.
I think on one hand, there is the personal ask of it. I'm 17 years old. I have only ever organized with Sunrise. And I think there was a huge learning curve to say, am I the person who is bringing experience that can shape this movement that is surrounded by, I think that it has been so surrounded by people who have gone through academia and studied sociology for years, or who have even just been more steeped in what is movement history. And so I think there was this huge challenge for myself around, am I the person to do this? How can I actually contribute? Do I have the learnings and experience? And am I able to show up both as myself and what I would have needed in Sunrise, and also with the hundreds of people who I've interacted with and said, you know what, this really sucks about Sunrise and we can make it better. And I think that sense of I am a person on this 11-person team that is ostensibly deciding the future of Sunrise, and then everybody will vote on it and ratify it. And so we aren't making the decisions in a silo, but I think that was huge.